Hello, hello. Who have we got? Feel free to chuck your name in the chat box. Say hello, where you're from. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes to get everyone else in this for those that want to join. If you haven't got a pen and paper, please grab one of those now. You will need something to write things down with. But yes, let me know. Tell me where you are from. Hope everyone's having a nice day. And excited for some goal setting. It's going to be a good one. Going to give it a couple of minutes to get everyone that's maybe waiting that wants to come in. Hello, hello from India. Must be late there. Must be, what was it, 4 hours ahead? 11 o'clock? Is it about 11? I remember it being, it was 4 hours when I was there in February, I think. 4 hours or 5 hours. But yes. So today, I'll fill you in. So today we're going to do some goal setting. And the goal setting is going to be based around July, obviously being beginning of the month tomorrow. It's going to be a nice, easy way to set ourselves up for a, gosh, 11:30. That's late. It's going to be, it's going to be a good way to set ourselves up for some really good actionable goals that we're going to be targeting for this month. So first, what we'll do, I'm going to just explain how this works. So it's going to be about half an hour long. I'm going to basically talk about how you can create a goal, set a goal, and essentially, put yourself in a position where you're going to achieve that goal by the end of the month. Okay. We're going to work through a real life example for you. So this is why I ask that you have a pen and paper ready. But yeah, I'm going to give it just 2 more minutes and then we'll crack on because, I feel like there's if there's anyone else coming, but hopefully there'll be a few more people to jump on. Let me just quickly check that I've got no one waiting or anyone's messaged me on Instagram. Let me see. No one on there. Okay, we'll just crack on. Looks like it's just you and me. So, oh, hang on. We've got one more person coming in. Give me 1 second. Amit. Hello. We have 3 people now on the call. Maria, hope you're well. If you are just joining us, if you'd like to grab a pen and paper, which is you need for the session, it's going to be, you'll need to be writing some stuff down. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Maria, can you hear me? Brilliant. Okay, so goal setting, right? Let me just give you a roundup of what goal setting is. Goal setting is essentially where you figure out how you're going to accomplish something, okay? And the way you figure that out is by using a very simple but quite complex method called the SMART goal setting, right? And I'm going to sort of iterate on it slightly. But ultimately, what I want you to do is, first of all, think of something that you would like to achieve by the end of July. Okay. Now it can be anything. It can be that you want to read 3 books. It could be that you want to run a certain distance. It could be that you want to, not eat, or you want to gain something, or you want to, produce this, or whatever it might be. Write that. Just think of something that you want to accomplish by the end of July, and write that down on the top of your piece of paper. Okay. And what we're going to now do is we're going to look at that goal, and we're going to ask ourselves a couple of questions around it. And those questions are going to be based on how you feel about that goal once it's been completed. So you're going to fast forward to this point in the future. It's going to be the 31st of July. You're going to be sitting wherever you are. You can write this down. You're going to be sitting somewhere. You're going to be, you know, in some place, and you're going to write down how it's going to feel to have completed that goal, that mission, that thing you set out to do from today that you've got 31 days to complete. How are you going to feel on the 31st of July when you've completed this goal, right? I want you to write down all the feelings, right? I just want you to write them down. How are you going to feel? What's it going to look like? You know, who's going to know about it? Who are you going to tell once you've done it? Not just who knows about it throughout. What are you going to, you know, how's it going to benefit your life? How is it going to, you know, how is it going to feel to accomplish that and be that much further ahead in whatever it is your task is? So yeah, I'll give you a couple of minutes to write those things down. Again, just think about really visualizing where you're going to be once you've completed this task, because it will really help with the next few steps about actually getting to that end goal. Okay. Now, when it comes to the actual goal itself, the best way to have a goal that's easy to follow is to make it so that it's specific, measurable, agreed. No, yeah, no, sorry. It's actionable. It's realistic, and then time based. Okay, so I'm gonna go through those again. So specific. Okay, if it's a goal that is going to be, well, you already know it's specific because you're giving yourself a month to do it. Okay, so you've got a time limit on it, right? So that's specifically in terms of the time, but also what is the specific goal that you're trying to achieve? Is it, you know, a certain amount of miles you're going to run? Is it a certain amount of books you're going to read? Is it a certain amount of, you know, chocolate bars you're not going to eat, or whatever it might be, right? And I want you to write down the specifics around what it is that actually you're going to achieve. Okay, and put numbers in there, put distances in there, put times in there, whatever it might be, but just get those specifics in there and really visualize it. So you can almost write a sentence that says, I am going to read 3 books by the 31st of July. Okay. The next one I want you to write down is like how you're going to basically be motivated in order to keep this goal alive throughout the month, because there's going to be times when you're going to be feeling like super energetic to do it. Okay. And there's going to be times when you're going to be like, oh, I can't be bothered today. So how are you going to stop yourself from essentially not doing the goal? Okay. You're going to break it down. You're going to break it down into the smallest, easiest possible chunks you can physically do. So I want you to look at your month, and I want you to look at realistically how many days or how many hours or how many minutes, whatever time you have available to concentrate on this goal, how much time can you really honestly dedicate to this? And I want you to be conservative, because it's going to be, obviously life gets in the way, things happen, you know, the weather changes, people plan things, you know, stuff gets in the way. So what is like the minimum that you could potentially do without failing throughout the whole month? So to give an example, if your goal is to, you know, read 2 books, you know, what do you have to do each day in order to be able to make sure that you finish those in the time allotted? Okay. And if that's not realistic, then you may need to change the goal. It might be you can read 2 books, you can only read 1, or you may be ready to read 1 and, you know, read a couple of articles or something like that, right? But you need to then sort of work out whether the goal is achievable based on the time that you have available to actually complete the tasks in hand. And when you start to break it down, you'll realize that the process in which to get these things done is actually a lot easier than you think. It's just about breaking it down into small bite-sized chunks. Okay. So what I want you to do is write down kind of like the blocks of time you're able to give this. Either it's a daily thing, every other day, whether it's a weekly thing, whether it's an hourly, once a day, twice a day for an hour, whatever it might be that works for you. Put it down on a piece of paper. Okay. I then want you to write down what it is you're going to be doing in those specific time blocks. Okay. So is it, I'm going to read a page a day? Am I going to read a page every hour? Am I going to run 2 kilometers a day? Am I going to run 10 kilometers every 4 days? Whatever it might be, write those things down in the time block that you set yourself. Okay. And like get specific about what you're going to do, and like have what I like to call intent. So have intent for the time that you're going to spend on this particular task. Okay. So I'll give you a few minutes to write those down. Again, when it comes to the feelings around these goals, just remember where you're going to be when you complete it. Who's going to know, what's it going to feel like to actually get there? How are you going to feel when you can finally, put your hands in the air and say, yes, I did that? Or, the accomplishment, the feeling of pride, all those sorts of things. Remember those feelings, write them down, because they're going to help you really motivate yourself through these next few steps. So you've got the time blocks, you've got, how much time you're going to dedicate to this, and sort of mapped it out for, whether it's once a day or whatever throughout the month. Okay. Now, who are you going to tell is a big part of this. Okay. Who's going to help you in your goal setting? Who's going to help you with achieving this goal? Now, the thing that is great about this is that accountability is a big part of helping you achieve goals. Okay. Accountability will trump any other form of motivation, because you feel that you've got an ownership over it, as well as somebody else giving you, as well as someone else having the ownership with you over it. So think about who you could help, or who could help you on this journey by telling them, you're doing this goal. So whether it be you tell me, or you tell Instagram, or you tell your friends, or you tell your parents, or you tell your sisters, or you tell your brothers, or who are you going to tell? And what I want you to do is actually write a sentence down that says, I am going to complete this, or I'm going to read this, or I'm going to run this, or whatever the goal is, by the 31st of July. And I'm telling you this because I want you to keep me accountable for my actions. Okay. So I'm going to say that again. I want your name. I'm going to do whatever the task is by the 31st of July. And I'm telling you because I'd like you to keep me accountable for my actions. Now, what this does, it's powerful because it's essentially a positive affirmation that you are telling yourself, as well as telling other people that you're doing this particular goal. So when you get to a weekend, this person, ideally it's someone that's close to you, someone that you speak to regularly, whatever, they'll say to you, hey, how's that goal going? Or how's that thing you said you were going to do? And that automatically starts to make you think, I've got to either keep going with it because you're already on it, or get back to it, because sometimes we, let things slip. Or you can be excited about saying, yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it. I've got, I'm ahead of my game. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It gives you an excuse to talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more it becomes real. And the more it becomes real is the easier and the more likely you are to do it as a task. Okay. So we've got the goal, the feeling around the goal. We've got the time blocks in which you're going to spend to do it. You've got the people you're going to tell, and the sentences in which you're going to tell these people, what you're doing. The next step is the practical part. Okay, it's the actual doing of it, right? And actual getting down to doing this particular goal. And there's a lot to be said for your mood and your feelings around starting something new. And the best way I can describe this is make it easy, right? Make it super easy for you not to fail. And what I mean by this is, don't try and start completing your goals when you've had a really long day at work and you're super tired and you're hungry and you've got the dog screaming at you and you've got another million other things to do. Don't start your goal then. Don't. Right? Do it at a time when you are the most focused, because it's something. And the reason for this is because during the day in life, we have things that we do autonomously, right? We get up, we brush our teeth, we make our beds, we put the kettle on, we just do it without thinking. To start a new habit, to start a new goal, to start something that we're doing new into our life, it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some rejigging of our current lives. So what you need to do is you need to make it super easy for yourself. So plan to do these things that you're introducing into your life at the very beginning of the day, if that's when you're focused most, or when you're in the middle of the day or whatever. But I found through working with people and my research, and also personally, beginning of the day is the best day to do it, best time to do it. Okay. Now, whether you're an early bird or you're a night owl, regardless, I believe that the morning is the best time, because you're fully rested. you've got you've got the whole day ahead of you, and you're at the start of the day, so you've got nothing really kind of like fogging your memory or anything that's really kind of going on. You've got just your time to focus. So whether it's going to take you an hour a day, just focus that time in the morning. I definitely recommend doing that in the morning and get it out of the way. Because if it gets out of the way, you feel not only accomplished for the rest of the day, and it will definitely affect your mood for the rest of the day, because it will mean that you've done that one thing. So you've almost like you've won already, regardless of what else happens that day, you've already won. So yeah, make sure you try and get it done in the morning, but also it just allows you to focus really clearly on what it is you need to do. Okay. There's a couple of blogs that you can look at and people, but there's a really good book called The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. And he talks about how the morning hours are the best hours for everything, because the world's kind of mostly asleep, and you can get up and be really focused on what it is you need to achieve. And even if the day gets away with you, for example, you have an extra meeting, or the bus is late, or somebody asks you for a drink last minute, or whatever it might be, if you haven't done what you said you were going to do and complete your goal for the month, then you're going to suddenly have a conflict of interest, and you're going to be like, oh, I want to go for that drink with my friend, but I've got this thing I said I'd do, and it's going to start making you stressed and overwhelmed. So just get it done, get it out of the way. Make sure that it's the first thing you do in the morning when you get up. And I promise you, from experience and from working with people for a long time with this, it definitely works. Okay. So the next step is, once you've figured out when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, the amount of time you're going to do it for, who you're talking to about it, is setting yourself up to a point where you can get the job done in a way that is measured, so you can track how well you're doing. Okay. Now this kind of like relates back to like the time blocking thing, but how are you going to know that you're on track to complete the goal? Okay. That's the question you need to ask yourself. And you can look at it from two ways. You can either track physically, so you can say, I'm going to run, say, 100 kilometers this month, so therefore by halfway through the month I would like to be at 50. Or it can be a bit more sort of structured, in the sense of, I'm only going to have 2 chocolate bars this month, of which you then go out and buy 2 for the month, and then that by halfway through the month you've only got 1 left, or whenever you want to have them. But there has to be some sort of measurable attachment to the goal, so you can keep on track, because otherwise you may get to a week before the end and you realize you can't, there's no way you can complete it. So you have to plan and have the measurable element to it to be able to get yourself to the end goal by the right measure. So to give an example, I ran 200 kilometers last month. That was one of my goals, and I broke it up in the best way I knew how, which was to run in 12 kilometer blocks, but then every now and again I'd do a big block of 21, right? And what that meant was, mentally I was like, right, I need to do a big one, but then I'm allowed like a bit of rest afterwards. So it just depends how you work. Some people are more consistent, like 10 10 10 10 or whatever. I work a bit more like, right, big burst of energy, and then like kind of chill, and then big burst of energy and chill. So just depends on how things work for you. If you're reading a book, for example, as a goal, then a good one to do is to like either have like all day Sunday you just read, or you read for half an hour a night before you go to bed. Same, you probably get the same sort of amount of reading in, but it just depends how your diary and how your life works. Okay. Now, the last bit of goal setting is the fact that, as you said, we've got this time limit on it, is making sure that you're doing it in a time that I always like to have the 10% rule. So the 10% rule basically is give yourself 10% of the end for a contingency. So if we're looking at the month of July, 10% is 3 days before the end of the month. So try and set your goal so that you've got basically it completed by the 28th of July, because then that gives you a bit of a buffer just in case something goes wrong, or something happens that means that you have to push back a few days, and you've got those, and it just leaves you in a less stressful situation. Okay. So yeah, look, that's essentially goal setting. Now, when it comes to doing it for a month, it's quite fun because you can really focus on something and it's just a short amount of time. But if you were to apply this for like a long-term thing, there's basically 4 stages you can do. So there's the 30-day challenge, which is obviously just a month. You then got the 90-day challenge, which is obviously 3 months. Then you got the 1 year, okay, and then you got the 3 year. And what's really cool about what you can learn from doing what you can do in a month, you can apply to the 90-day, to the 1 year, to the 3 year. Okay. Now, what will happen when you start creating goals and you start completing them and you start realizing what your potential is, your confidence levels will go up, but also you'll realize how to do it and you'll become more efficient at doing it. So to give you an example, I've just done 30 days of a couple of different goals. I'm now doing a 90-day cycle for the next one. Okay. So if you saw on my Instagram recently, I read something like 3 or 4 books last month. I'm now setting myself a target of 12 for the next 3, which if I continue the rate I'm going, I should make it, but it allows me a little bit more wiggle room with like, okay, I could actually do it slightly, you know, more at one end or the other, or I could be more consistent, and it kind of gives you more room to play with. And then once you start getting that concept around your head, you can then start really planning for like big things in the future. So, you know, if you wanted to maybe complete a degree or buy a house or go on a holiday or whatever it might be, and it's kind of like a good 6, 8, 10 months away in the calendar, it gives you really good focus as to go, right, let's just use the same process. Let's work backwards. So let's go, right, that's how long I've got, you know, that's how much money I need to make, or how much time I need to take off, or how much books I need to read, or whatever the goal is. And then work backwards and work out how much you can actually fit in based on your current schedule. And it allows you to then become much more efficient at life generally, and also much more, you know, gives you the ability to just focus your attention purely and solely on that one thing, rather than being distracted by other things that are going on. You've got a focus, and that's what it comes down to. Goal setting is about focus. It's about understanding that you are preparing your body to focus on this one thing, and you know, you're going to do it for a month, and that's it, right? And everything else can sit by the wayside. That can be, you know, can put it to another side for the time, because this month I'm focusing on this. Okay, so guys, I hope that was helpful, and I hope that you have some goals that you are now ready to rock into July with. Has anybody got any questions about what I've said, or if any questions about anything, regardless of this sort of stuff, but anything focused on goal setting they'd like to ask me, please chuck it in the chat box. You're welcome to ask me anything. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Obviously, if you have any issues with, or any, I don't feel like sharing it with my friend. I don't feel like sharing it with my friends. Okay, so do you have anyone that you would like to share it with? Is there anyone that you can trust, that you know will have your best interests at heart? Parents, maybe a sister or brother, you know, someone at school or whatever. Anyone that you can. You can share it with me if you like. Yeah, absolutely. You can share it with me, and I'll make sure that, you know, you are keeping on track with everything, and that's absolutely fine. Of course, you can share it with me. So yeah, just DM me your goals. You can DM me them now. See if I can. But yes, it's yeah, I'll check if you DM me your goals, then I can definitely keep you on track. But it'll be exciting to see you progress through them. Have you got any more questions about anything goal setting wise? Okay, so again, if you haven't got anyone that you would like to share with, then that's absolutely fine. You can share them with me. I'm happy for me to be your accountability person in this journey. Just DM me your goals, and just set them out like a sentence, and just say, I am going to complete this goal by this date for this reason, and this is how I'm going to feel once I've done that. Almost send me kind of all your notes you've written today. It'd be even better, because when you write them out and you are able to kind of reinforce those into your mind, it becomes more real. And you know, I will check on you. I will put a reminder in my calendar for once a week, and I will check in, see how you're getting on with those goals. And yeah, it's an accountability thing, so it should excite you to want to push on with them. And I mean, in an ideal world, I'd love for you to come back and say, I'm actually further ahead of my goal than I'm expected to be. That'd be the best situation. But if you get to a point where you're, you know, not so far in, or something happened, then, you know, I can definitely help you with getting you back on track, and helping you with figuring things out. Okay. Guys, if there's any more questions on that, if not, then I will sign off with a thank you for having me today, and thank you for coming to this session. I really appreciate it. I hope it's been super helpful for you. And I hope that you guys have got some great goals that you can focus on for the next month. And yeah, I'll be sharing my goals for July with everyone tomorrow, so you can check those out, and you can also be my accountability partner on that. So yeah, but otherwise, if there's any more questions, you feel free to send me a message on Instagram. That's no problem at all. And I hope you have a lovely evening, rest of your evening, and I hope you get some nice sleep. And I'll see you very, very soon, I'm sure. Okay, take care. Bye.